Hello and welcome to another episode of Coach's Commentary. I'm going to be talking about an interesting subject in this episode. It's about the strike rate. Of late, there's been a lot of heated debates about how a batter should ensure he does not allow a strike rate to tip towards the middle portion of his innings, which obviously they feel results in the team losing out in the end analysis. Yes, the batters have to get runs at a healthy strike rate. That is obvious. And even each and every batters that you get to see on the screen or live, you can make out that they're really trying their best to ensure that they get runs as quickly as possible. But it's a case of what methods batters adapt is what I'm going to be talking about. Is it a case of batters needing to have a good technique, or is it a case of batters having the ability to indulge in power hitting? Or is it something else that makes them succeed in their bid to get runs quickly enough, which obviously results in their team benefiting in the overall scheme of things? Let's take each and every approach of a batter, or perhaps the methodology of batters in a cluster, as a manner of speaking. By that I mean you'll have a lot of batters who rely on the technical skills to try and succeed in all formats of the game. What is one name that obviously comes to your mind is Ajinkya Rahane, as he is one who bats in a conventional mold and also has churned out a lot of numbers for India in international cricket. And in this edition of IPL, he's made everybody sit up and take notice. What has he done differently? I think it's just a case of him trying to use the skill sets that he has to maximum effect. You have a lot of batters who rely on the conventional style of batting to churn out runs in the T20 format too. I spoke about Ajinkya Rahane, you are aware of it. There's Devon Conway, and then you also have other batters like Faf du Plessis, who tries to get his runs employing the conventional methods of batting. What is it that makes them get runs when they use the conventional technical skill sets to get runs? What they do is that they ensure that their shape is there. First of all, they try and give themselves time to suss the pitch and the conditions and target the kind of bowlers that they want to go after. And once they are in, they feel that they got their eye in and they're ready to launch an onslaught. They obviously extend all the defensive strokes or the pushes that have been playing at the start of the innings to clear the infield. And what it does to them is that it allows them to play shots in all parts of the ground because they're technically equipped to play, they retain their shape, and also they're capable of playing all types of bowlers because there's generally less of predetermination in what they try to do at the crease. And that's the reason you see players who rely on technical skill sets are a lot more consistent. Yes, there might be a little bit of criticism um, as far as their strike rate is concerned, but let's not forget that the likes of Devon Conway, Faf du Plessis, and various other batters, because it's a long list, you can't really list out everybody here, various other batters who employ um, and bank on technical skills have succeeded in getting runs even in the T20 format at a healthy strike rate. Now let's look at the other school of thought that goes after the bowlers in their own way. What do? They indulge in power hitting, like Shimron Hetmeyer, you've got Nicholas Puran, Rahul Tewatia, Venkatesh Iyer, to name a few. Coincidentally, all of them are left-handers, but it is not picked by choice. It's just that you will agree with me that all these batters have been really creating a lot of buzz here. In that they've been getting runs quickly, they've been playing innings which has had a lot of impact as far as side's fortunes are concerned. Now, what do? They rely on their power, they rely on their ability to clear the field, and they also prefer one side of the field to get their runs. Generally, you will see these power hitters tend to get runs a lot more from the arc, from long off towards square leg. They don't play much behind square on the offside. Why? The simple reason is that they don't use the angles, they don't use the pace, they use their muscles and they use their confidence to clear the field. That's why you would see then making use of certain parts of the grounds better than the others. But of course, in all the venues in the IPL, they would also tell you that the boundaries are shorter on the on-site generally, especially in the mid-wicket area and the square leg area. So they said they will obviously use it to their advantage. Yes, that is one method of doing it. And generally, they also come out to bat at a time when the batters have to get a move on, except for Venkatesh Iyer, who opens the innings. All the others are middle order batters, so they will not get the chance like the openers like Faf du Plessis or even Rituraj Gaikwad to give themselves a chance, play themselves in, and then try and see what to do and how to pace their innings. But the middle order batters like Hetmeyer, Toren, they'll not get the time to play themselves in and really assess because generally they walk out at a time where they need to get a move on. Of course, what is critical here is that the batters need to have the ability or the mindset to make use of the entire field. That's when they're going to be really effective. They're going to also create a lot of issues for the bowlers. Yes, not that this likes of Hetmeyer, Puran, and Venkatesh don't create enough headaches as of now, even though they do not play not many shots towards one slice of the ground, but they're still quite a bit of a nightmare for the bowlers. But still, what I'm suggesting is that if the wickets or pitches are a bit tacky, what happens is that they tend to find that their methods don't work. It is then what batters need to do is try and make use of their dexterity and maneuver the ball into different parts of the ground to get runs. Who comes to mind when you talk about getting runs in all parts of the grounds? Yes, in the past it was A.B. de Villiers. And now who does it with aplomb is Surya Kumar Yadav. What does Surya Kumar Yadav do or what did A.B. de Villiers do then? What they did was that they were very, very clever and they were fantastic in that it was almost like they had a compass in their mind to tell them as to where exactly the fielders are and what angles that they need to use or they could use to get runs and try and toy with the field sets of the opposition captains. But let's not forget one thing here. Both A.B. de Villiers, Surya Kumar Yadav, they obviously used the pace of the bowlers. They also were very much aware of the angles. And most importantly, if you look at the batting methods or if you look at the technical framework, their wrists were neutral. And that's the reason they were able to maneuver the ball the way they did. And that is what exactly creates a problem for the bowlers because if a batter can maneuver the ball around, use the angles and get boundaries with deft touch and suddenly play a big shot, you've got anything and everything that is possible for a batsman to do in their repertoire. That is why they are so dangerous. That is why they get runs at such a quick pace. And that's why they are almost like all players for all conditions, all pitches, because they've been getting runs against every opposition under all circumstances as well. So that's what makes them special. And the other fact that is very important for batters is that they need to have the ability to play extraordinarily well through the offside. Who reminds you of that particular quality in him? Harry Brook. If you look at the way he's got his runs, he's got a brilliant 100 in the IPL. And if you were to cast your mind back to that particular innings, he got a lot of boundaries through the offside. He's a tall man, and then obviously he does have his shots on the onside too. But generally, what it is that happens, bowlers tend to bowl with the predominant field placings on the offside. By that I mean more number of fielders are placed on the offside, and they try and stick to one particular line. Line obviously is something that's very critical in white ball cricket. So the bowlers generally tend to resort to bowling off stump line, which means that you need to have the ability to break through the line and get runs through the offside as well. Players who don't really have that many shots on the offside are restricted, and it is then they need to try and do something else to make up for it. What is it that they do? They move across the stump and try and see if they can drag everything from outside the off stump and get runs through the leg side. So it's interesting. If you were to ask me what is a method that you would suggest, WV, I will not suggest any one particular method because it's all about a player understanding his framework of technique or understanding if power play is what he's got to indulge in and try and see what it is that he's got to do? Or is he got to follow an integrated method? By that I mean technical skills, obviously backed up by also an ability to use the angles and the pace of the bowlers. Yes, you can do that if you have the technical skill sets. If you're relying on power, are the other two things possible? I don't know. It could be possible, but generally, what it is that the batters are obviously trying to get runs at a quicker pace, and it is always a case of the circumstances they were brought up in when they started playing cricket and the kind of experience they have. But most importantly, what needs to be understood by these batters is that there is no one particular route to a destination. There are several ways you can reach a destination, but you got to be clever in trying to see which method is suitable to your framework of play and your skill sets, or probably your mindset even, and the ability that you have in yourself. Yes, you may ask me, what is it that they need to do when they are faced with a tough situation? Yes, we always tend to talk about batters having to play according to the situation, then based on their own technical skills or the skill sets that they have in them. But it is a case of them employing their skill sets to obviously deal with the situation and overcome any particular situation when there's a lot of pressure that they need to handle. So the important thing here is that strike rate is very important, but at the same time, methodology is something that they need to really understand and also play according to situation. But overall, one point that everybody needs to understand is that the strike rate cannot be the same right through the innings. It lies ups and downs. There'll be phases when suddenly you get three, four boundaries, and then maybe you'll play out five, six dot balls. But what is important is that if a batter has taken some time to play himself in and given himself a chance, he's got to ensure that he makes up towards the end. If he doesn't make up towards the end, he's going to create a lot of problems, not only for his side, but also for his personal confidence, and might end up getting into a rut because if you are unable to make up towards the end, and if you find that out in a couple of innings in succession, then your self confidence takes a beating. And once a cricketer loses his self confidence, then we all are aware as to where things head. Yes, at the end of the day, it's all about strike rate, but it's also about understanding which method is the right method for a particular individual in a given situation. So that's it for now. And as I say always before I sign off, I'll catch up with you very soon. But until then, be good and stay safe.